All right, guys. Had a few people wondering what I've been up to lately. Obviously, still working on RC cars all the time, but we moved, so we're closer to work. So I've got to rebuild my RC shop. We sold the other building, and now I've got a new one. We're trying to build it, so I'm in the house with a bunch of RC stuff stuck in a corner, basically, and doing some work at work when I have some spare time. But I got something new today, and I wanted to kind of open it up and share it with everybody and maybe do a little comparison. And we'll do a build video with it, and of course take it to the runway, hopefully within the next couple weeks. I'm hoping to go, was hoping to go this next coming weekend, but weather's not looking so great, so we'll just have to play it by ear with the storms out there in the Atlantic. We all know the VTE2 came out a year ago, really showed itself and earned its place at the top of the list really quick. I've got several of them and had really good luck with them. I haven't ran it a lot lately, over the past maybe 6-8 months at least. Focused on the Limitless and some custom builds, but the last time I ran the car, my PB with it currently is 208, which is just awesome because there's so little that you have to do to this car to run that kind of speed. This is of course the VTE2, and I figured I would get this out as well to do a little comparison. Let me move this out of the way. But this box came today from Saga, and I want to open this thing up and check it out. I've been waiting to open it up till I got home today so I can see what it looks like, and hopefully get this thing built. And we'll do a build video with it. I'll probably do one of these stock chassis, stock pretty much everything, and show what this car can do in its stock configuration. The VTE2 did really well. Had a lot of good luck with it, and with its single motor stock aluminum chassis, I think my top speed currently with that is like 188, which is really great. I can tell from the front of the box there's a lot of stuff different, just by the picture. I do know some of the stuff with the car, you know what it has. It's got some really cool things about it. Obviously I think they've done some new drive shafts, the rear floating body mount, and you see this here, the drag tree, because I think that body mount is really something that the drag guys are into. So we're gonna see how it does for the speed run stuff too. Thanks, bud. I appreciate the extra treat in there, lipo bag. Let's get this. Of course, we have the manual with all the stuff that nobody ever looks at, or I don't. Got the floating body mount is actually in the bag. We'll take that out as well. Let me just open that up, show it to you real quick. I think I found the dullest scissors in the whole house. Had to wait for kids to go to bed to even make this video, because they like to be a part of everything. Yeah, I definitely found the worst ones. And we'll just show what I can of this. I'm not going to try to put it together, but floating body mount. I do like the fact that it's really wide, especially for the FC bodies and stuff, because they've got a real nice section at the back that you can use a mount like this. I'm going to set it back here. Battery straps. Actually looks like extra battery straps, or more battery straps. and then the little tool thing, and then of course the motor slide. It's like a 4 or 3 millimeter motor bolts. Hope I'm showing all that where you can see it. This is up to a 50 millimeter motor. That's it. That's really cool. It's got zip ties. Yeah. I think these scissors are ready for the trash. Yeah. Nice steering wheel cover from Saga as well. Some nice stickers. All right. Let's see if we can get a good look at this thing. From just a basic look over at the beginning, one of the things I do see, like I was saying just a second ago, they did do some different drive shafts. They look a little different, and they did the same shaft in the front and the rear, which on the other car they actually had 2 different shafts in them. One was a regular dog bone and one was this aluminum. I think this is going to be a great shaft for drag racing. Maybe not so much on the speed run side. We'll have to I'll probably do a test with them just to see how they do. But it's a lot of weight, so we'll kind of see. Should be really strong for a drag racer, and we'll see how they do for some beginning of the speed runs, and then I'll switch it over to carbons or something. We'll see how it goes. Has an ESC mounting plate over the top of the center brace, which is kind of cool. Of course, motor. I think last time I did the ESC at the back, they had a different battery mount, but we'll look at that on the other car as well. We'll get the other one out and kind of do a little bit of a comparison. The rear shock tower is considerably wider, and this is where the floating body mount is hooked to the top of the bearing carriers in the rear, and it bolts in and goes this way so that this body is directly tied to the bearing carriers. So all the downforce of the body is pushing directly on the tires. Instead of having it all as sprung weight, it's going to unspring some of that weight. You know, it's really the drag racers have been working with this for quite some time, and it very well may be something really cool for us. Obviously, the only way we're going to find out is build one of these things and see how it really does for a speed run car. I can see where there could be some benefits, and then I can see where there might be some setup challenges, so to speak. And we'll see how that goes. Pretty much the rest of the car, you know, got these mud guard, dust guards. I'm sure the drag guys will love them for prep. Obviously, it'll keep a little bit out of the car itself. I'm assuming it'll do pretty good. The chassis is a little different. It's obviously a different color. Now, as far as we'll hold up the other one in a minute and see if it's got any different dimensions, and look at that. But all in all, it looks like a pretty nice car with some upgrades. And you know, like I said a while ago, the Habao has definitely proven itself as a car that can be at the top. Now I'm going to just pull this other one out of the box here. This is a VTE2 original, same basic thing. Motor mount plate is definitely different. This did not hold a 50 millimeter motor, so that's an upgrade. I'm also noticing, and this, I'm going to try to show you this motor mount. Let's turn this thing around. If you look at the difference in these motor mounts, this motor mount on this VTE, the V2, let's just call it the V2 to make it easy, on the V2 is substantially beefier than the motor mount that we had before. This is I think this is one of the things that a lot of us asked about improve, because their motor mount was really flimsy. So when you really put a lot of power to it, it was wiggling around a lot. This one, I don't see that happening. The other thing that I've noticed is we have an aluminum carrier for the rear instead of the little black plastic. I didn't like the plastic. It did work, you know, on my stock running car. The one I ran with a stock chassis, I did leave it in there. But, you know, if you ever have any problem with bearing, it's just going to melt that thing. This is way beefier. I think that's going to be a lot better. The spool looks very similar to being the same. Gearing apparently is about the same, 34, which we're going to change a lot of that anyway. Obviously, with these things side by side, you can see, I'm trying to get it where it's a little easier. You can see the mud flaps. I'm calling them mud flaps. They're more like dust flaps, or you know, keep that prep from those drag cars. I will probably take those off. I don't know that they're going to be a problem, but I think they'll maybe get in my way a little bit. I also, you know, we've talked about the battery trays are a little different. These had these little slide-in trays that clipped in here with a couple of screws. I like those okay, and they worked, but you really had to run the straps through here, because if you did crash, it would snap those things out, where this doesn't have that. This has got more of a solid, and it's pretty much intended to be that way. I would say that the chassis is pretty much, I would say it's pretty much identical. I don't really see a whole lot. Yeah, I would say that they're pretty much just the same. This is a little darker, but you know, it's anodizing, so they might have used a different anodizing on it. On the bottom, everything pretty much looks the same. All the attachments are there. All the holes to flip the motor, if you're doing that, to move it around. The battery ends look a little tougher, so I think these will be, you know, a much better deal. I've mentioned this in another video. There are a lot of companies out there, well, I say a lot, probably 3 or 4 that make Kevlar battery straps. I have decided that they are an absolute must. They're way stronger. These straps tend to snap in a crash. They hold up okay, but if you can keep the batteries in the car, then you're way better off. That's the safest place for them to be. So, you know, they've got something to protect them, and batteries are so expensive now that it's easier to fix a few things on the car when it crashes than it is to try to replace batteries. So I'm gonna always recommend every time now that, you know, do some searching. I'll see if I can find a link and put up in there for the Kevlar battery straps. There's some companies that make really long ones, some companies that make shorter ones. A lot of them are used for drones. But I've had a couple of really big crashes and the battery stayed in the car. Battery straps don't break. So it's so much better. And a lot of them are actually rubberized. They have rubber on one side that keeps the batteries from sliding around if you don't have a way to, you know, like this car is going to be a little difficult to put Velcro on it. You're going to have a lot of open areas, and all that glue on the bottom of the Velcro is just going to get all up and stuck all up in that. So you're going to have to put a piece of tape on the bottom, and you're not going to have that much surface area for that two-sided or the Velcro to stick to. So the rubberized strap, around, couple around, one over, this thing will never lose a battery. Another thing that they've added is this adjustable body support. You know, for GT cars, you know, this thing is adjustable in and out, so you can bring it out and let it sit on the side of the car. Obviously the body will be not moving where the chassis will be moving, so you taping them is going to be kind of a different thing. There'll be a couple of ways that you can do this and continue to use it. I think a couple little brackets on the body, if you really wanted to make it attached, there'll be something that we can come up with that'll do that. But I think the solution for that is just running a really thick body. The Perfect Pass body, that's a clear body. It's actually one of the 3mm bodies from Delta Plastic. That body does not have much flap in it. It pretty much doesn't even need to be taped on the side. So I think that'll be a great body for this car, or the ABS bodies that they have, because they're really stiff. So I think that'll be the body I'll probably run on this car with this configuration, with this floating body mount. I don't really see a lot of other things that have changed. You know, this is considerably different as far as the towers. This one brings the shocks out a lot more, so it's going to stiffen them up quite a bit, which I think is something that's going to have to be necessary. If you're putting your body on here and it's staying at the height of the tires constantly, let's say, the chassis is still going to have squat, and it's still going to have weight transfer. And obviously, even though your body's not squatting down, you don't want your chassis squatting all the way anyway, because then it's still going to raise the front of the car up, because it's not floating in the front. So the front's going to be the same weight it was. So if you let the back of the car squat, even though the body's not squatting in the back, the front's still going to be lifting. So you're going to have problems with flipping over if you don't at least, make it pretty much as stiff as it was. There's going to be not quite as bad or as much as the old car, but it's gonna need to be pretty stiff. And we'll address that when I do a build video for this thing, because I want to do a single motor build for it. And then I haven't done it in the past. We did a scorched chassis last time to do a dual with a Habao. But I'm looking at this car, and I believe that laid out just right, you could probably squeak a dual in this car. But we'll see. We'll play around with it and see what we can get, because I do love the scorched chassis. David does a really nice job with those. And they allow to use some other things on them that from other cars that help out quite a bit, I think. But basically what I want to do is just do an open box on this thing, show off what it is, and talk about it. I think it's going to be a really cool contender. There's something else I really love right there, guys. That's why I was rolling that off of there while I was talking. It's serrated now. I was having to switch all of mine and change them over to another brand, because the ones on the VT, the original, were not serrated. These are a lot beefier, and they have serrated locks in them. Because you can't run these on a speed car. I was having to switch them over to another brand, something that would lock in to keep from spinning them off. So I do like that. So that's another improvement. So I see quite a bit of improvements on the car. Obviously the wheel nut that we just talked about, the motor mount, the body supports on the side, the floating rear body mount with the wider shock tower to bring those shocks out. There's a lot of room out here to bring things out and to make this thing really, you got some adjustment. And even though it's more geared toward the drag guy, those drag guys are going to be way more familiar with this than the speed run guys. I think that we're going to be able to set this up and make this work for us. So wanted to show this. Glad y'all are stuck around and watched it. Obviously we're going to have the quad motor back out. It's ready for its next passes. Of course, the Perfect Pass car, the Super Stretch Limitless, and obviously the 222 car is going to be back out really soon too. Like I say, we was hoping to go this weekend, But unfortunately, it's not looking so good with all these storms. They're kind of pushing some rain around. Make sure to keep watching for the build video for this. I'll do a whole video building it, maybe in the bed, in the room here. We may have to shop open, back and running and have everything out there by then, but we'll do it sometime in the next week or so. A lot of good stuff. I appreciate it, Habal, for sending me out a car, and hope we can do this thing justice, because it's an awesome car. The first one was great, and this looks like it's even better. So I'm excited to put this thing together and see what it can do. Obviously, we'll do a single motor first, and then we'll decide on the dual motor thing. I maybe just keep this one like a single motor, stock, everything. Change a few things, obviously, but basically keep everything that's in here in it, and then do maybe another Scorch chassis dual motor or something. We'll see how that goes. But y'all keep watching, and we'll see what we can do with this thing. Still got a couple of originals around too that I need to do something with, build them up. Just hadn't had time. Y'all keep watching for that quad motor car, guys. I'm excited about that car. 176 on 4S with basically no gearing. It's not even working yet. That thing's going to be awesome. And we'll have it back out. It's got the new paint job on it. Everything's done up. Putting some stickers on and stuff now, so it'll be running next time we go, and we'll get some stuff done. Also, I have the Ram Jam 4Tech build that's coming along really nice. Doing a video for it. We should have it running within a few weeks, 2 or 3 weeks maybe, depending on what else I got to do and with the move and work. Got another new car that I was hoping to debut in the fall, but with the move and work, it may be a little bit longer than that. It may be something I do over the winter and show it off, but we'll see what happens there. Also going to do some bashing videos and build a few bashers. Got a few things I'm already got lined up for that, and something to do for the winter, because winter's coming, and building speedrun cars is great, but you got to be able to go out and have some fun with some RCs too. So we're going to do some bashers and have some fun. There's some great places, a lot of construction around the area that I live at, so we can find some places to beat some cars up and have some fun. Maybe you can catch up with Eric at some point and have some fun with him. But y'all keep watching, and thanks for checking out this new Habal VTE 2.0. See you guys soon.